Well, today looked a lot different for some Macomb Middle School students. Instead of learning in a classroom, they instead participated and learned from a large-scale reunification training.
It simulates how a student would reunite with their parents following a crisis situation. WGEM's Dylan Smith has the details.
Organizers describe this training as the first of its kind in Illinois, and it's about as close to being real as you can get.
It takes a village to do anything.
And a village is what it took to reunify over 300 Macomb middle schoolers with their parents.
There will be an event plan that will work no matter where you're at.
Macomb Superintendent Patrick Toomey says it's no longer a matter of if, but when a crisis could occur. In the last few years, schools have upped their response training, but what happens next is crucial.
Reunification is actually the very beginning of the recovery process. This is the first step of the recovery process. And so if you don't get this step right, your community is going to suffer for a very long time to come.
Over a dozen law enforcement agencies, emergency management, and drone teams were part of what Toomey calls an organized mutual aid team. That when something happens, that's who shows up to help.
One school district, cannot pull this off singularly. They have to ask their neighbors.
The team gave themselves a strict 4 hours to process all students. Toomey says they came in well under that. He believes today is about building trust, not only with students and parents, but the entire community.
We've got this.
That if something does happen, an organized plan to bring students and their parents back together is now in place.
We don't want to think about a crisis happening here, but in the event it does, here's what we're going to do.
In Macomb, Dylan Smith, WGEM News.
If something does happen, supervisors say mental health resources will be at the reunification site. Organizers had a meeting after the simulation to determine what worked and what they could improve on.